Last night was nothing more than a second chance to be the party that we claim to be and want to be.
Tonight we foreclosed on a house. The one that used to be run by Nancy Pelosi.
We're not going to stop fighting either, because there's a lot of work to be done.
All right, that is another look at some of the celebrations that took place across the country last night. But now that the midterm elections are behind us, all eyes are starting to focus on 2012, and a few names are already popping up on everybody's short list of possible contenders. And joining me now is someone who has been rumored to be a possible candidate in 2012, the governor of the great state of Minnesota. Tim Pawlenty is here. Governor, how are you?
I'm doing great, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Now, you got a governor's race, open seat to take over for you, and apparently you got another Frank and Coleman thing emerging. And what's going on?
You said 2010 was over? Not quite. But
Not quite.
Automatic recount in Minnesota. I hope it doesn't drag on too long. But if it's like Frank and Coleman, I think that got decided in the spring.
All right, but there's about a 9,000 seat difference?
Approximately.
All right, so that's a little difficult. The Democrats ahead?
Democrats ahead, but there were some large irregularities in one of our counties last night, a 60,000 vote tabulation error. So somebody's going to have to get to the bottom of that, and perhaps other things. But the Republican Party's
60,000 vote tabulation error?
Right, in Hennepin County. They claim they fixed it before the final results came out last night, but that's one of the things that's going to have to be looked at.
Wow, that sounds absolutely
just lose 60,000 votes here or there, you know, not that big a deal.
So they might have lost them.
No, they claim they found.
They claim they found them. All right, and by the way, for the first time in, 38 years, you have a Republican legislature, which then brings up the question, people had to split the ticket to get a Republican legislature, and then a Democratic governor is in the lead in a close race.
Yeah, of course, in Minnesota, we have that third-party tradition as well, so the third-party candidate got about 12%.
Yeah, how's Jesse Ventura doing? He went off the deep end.
He's doing fine. He's got a new conspiracy TV show.
Oh, yeah. He deserves a conspiracy TV show. All right, now let me, first of all, your name comes up a lot. You seem to be laying the groundwork. And we just had on Governor Palin and Rudy, but you seem a little bit more active or proactive in laying the groundwork for a potential run in 2012. You must be thinking about it.
And we've been doing a lot of work under the banner of the Freedom First PAC and try to influence the 2010 elections with money and debate and ideas and appearances for other candidates. Now that that's done, we're going to decide what's next. For me, as to 2012, Sean, I'll decide early 2011, first quarter of next year.
All right, who are the top contenders? Who should... You know, because a lot of people are asking me.
The usual suspects. It's, of course, the names that get mentioned most often are Mitt Romney and Sarah Palin and, maybe Mitch Daniels, maybe Haley Barbour, maybe some members of Congress.
Newt Gingrich, maybe
Newt
Rudy.
Gingrich, of course, maybe Rudy. Who knows?
What do you think, off the top of your head, would separate you from those people that are most often mentioned along with yourself?
Well, a number of things. First of all, I grew up in a meatpacking town, so I've got a blue-collar background, and I can go in and communicate with people in places like Minnesota and convince them why being a conservative is good for them, and I've demonstrated that by getting elected and reelected. Number two, I got a record that I would put up against any governor in the country or any official in the country. Cato Institute just named me one of 4 governors in the country that got an A. It was me, Mark Sanford, Bobby Jindal, and Joe Manchin, believe it or not, a Democrat. So we've done everything that the country needs in terms of spending, cuts, taxes, public employee pension reform, health care reform, and more. We've done all of that in Minnesota, so I think I'd have a record.
What is your take on last night's election?
Well, a number of things, but I think, first of all, it's been my experience growing up in that meatpacking town, when you mess with people's livelihoods and you mess with their families, they get mad. And they buck up, and that's what happened last night. President Obama and the Congress and this federal government got to the point where they were messing with people's livelihoods and families and futures and American dreams, and the American public stood up and said, we've had enough.
Do you think this president has the ability to pivot, to adjust, or is he tone deaf? Is he too ideological to hear the message that I think was sent loudly last night?
Or as they say, silver tongue, tin ear?
Yeah, well,
we'll see. That remains to be seen. But based on his press conference this afternoon, he sounded a lot like Jimmy Carter, saying, it's marketing, it's communication. It's pretty tough to sell a crappy product, and they've had a crappy product. And so it's not about communications. It's about putting a product out there that's not any good.
Believe it or not, I think the most revealing thing, besides calling America's enemies and then Republicans can go in the back, I thought the most revealing thing is he goes on Jon Stewart. He's been president for 2 years. And, what change is coming. That's not what he was selling us. He promised unemployment would stay below 8%. He promised that his economic plan would work. None of these things happen. Is this a case where he overpromised and underdelivered?
Well, fortunately, his promises have an expiration date, and so does his term. and that's coming. And as to the enemies...
You think he's a one-term president?
I hope so, and I believe he will be. But, you know, as to the foreign affairs issues, Sean, this is somebody who, you know, I think is embarrassed by America and our success, and I think at times the feeling is mutual.
Wow. Wow. That's profound. Good to see you, Governor.
Okay,
Thanks for being with us.
thank you.
Appreciate it.